Okay, trying to record this again. Let's see if this actually makes it to the internet. Gosh. No, literally, you guys, I was just trying to record this, and the video thing just kind of blooped out of existence. Anyways, so I'm here to talk about 5 things that you should consider before medically transitioning, and hopefully my computer will cooperate with me. But, that's always in the air, so who knows? Okay, so I'm done complaining about my computer for right now. 5 things you should consider before medically transitioning. I'm just going to start off with this one. Take your dang time, okay? Take time, okay? Now, I'll be real. I'm kind of a hypocrite for this. I'm going to be totally honest. You should wait 6 months. I technically probably waited close to 5 months. Let's see. July to August. August to September. August to September. September to October. November. Okay. Yeah, 5 months. And I mean, honestly, even there, I wasn't like completely sure that I was trans or anything like that. And if I'm being real, if I am being totally real with you guys, yes, I should have waited. And every bit of advice, this is the only one I'm actually a hypocrite on. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Wait at least 6 months before you go on hormones, whether you're on estrogen or testosterone or whatever. And if you're a kid, please, I know, I get it, it's gotta be rough. But, there's a lot I could honestly say. Just, if you're a kid, don't do it yet. Like, I'm okay with, like, puberty blockers or whatever, but just because at least that kind of is slightly minimal-ish, but I honestly could make a whole video on my opinion on kids transitioning, to be honest. Just, like, look, okay, if you're under the age of 16, one, no, you legally can't. If you're between 16 and 18, I would highly, highly recommend, at least prove that you are very adultish, at the very least, before you even dare to do it, please. I don't want to be harsh, and I don't want to invalidate anybody, but damn it, and I'm giving this stuff out because everything I say is to help you to not end up getting to a position where you detransition. Because, I mean, for one, that's expensive, but, you can also get a lot of social ridicule, and I'm honestly going to eventually make a video in regards to that. But anyways, so take your time. Wait 6 months before you go on hormones. Don't be like me. But just because I'm kind of an example of, it's okay to start testosterone, not completely 6 months. No, just don't do as I say, not as I do. So yeah, because I mean, for one, yes, the first couple months of testosterone, not much changes, so you still do have time to reconsider, but you really need to reconsider that, even before. As far as surgeries go, if you have the money available to you, wait a damn year. At least, wait a damn year for top surgery or whatever. Of course, with bottom surgery, you do have to actually be on testosterone for a certain amount of time. And I would still highly, highly, highly recommend that, because that's, yeah, that's good. And honestly, if before you started coming out as trans, you were still really super girly, or vice versa, trans female and you're like was really masculine, I would highly recommend spending at least a year being, masculine or feminine, whatever you identify with, or hell, if you're non-binary, experiment with that. Live your life as kind of that neutral realm of some sort. Yeah, so I mean, because with me, I was never really feminine at all. I wore skirts because I had to. Like, that was kind of my life. I did occasionally like to look pretty. And of course, you guys know I'm non-binary, so it's not like I'm like super duper manly. But yeah, just be careful. Take your time. Like, seriously, it's all good things come within time. It's kind of one of those things, and you really don't want to. You don't want to rush into something that is so permanent. It's like for instance, you would not rush into creating business. You would take the time to figure out what are your goals, for that business, and all that stuff. Nobody actually rushes anything that's good. Nobody rushes into. They might get started on it quickly and start really brainstorming on those things, but, the real build-up, actually creating it, physically, doesn't happen right away. It's not rushed into. So, yeah, okay, I'm over-explaining. I'm trying to keep these damn things short. Second of all, be self-aware. Know who you are, know how you identify. Because, honestly, if you're non-binary, certain transitioning things might not work out so well for you. Consider what you want. Do you just want to look... You want to look kind of butch? Like, and I'm sorry, I'm using kind of female to male kind of reference, but that's my experience. So... keep everything in mind as vice versa. Whatever that equivalent would be. But, consider, do you want beardly hairs? Beardly. Or, do you want nice, clean face? Or do you want to be able to grow hair? What are your expectations with transitioning? What do you want out of your transition? And yes, testosterone, you can't really pick and choose, but that will help you to weigh out those options. Like, if you still want to have a feminine voice or have whatever. And vice versa with, if you want to grow small titties, if you're like male to female, then, estrogen would be great for you. But, otherwise, it's, just be, anyways, know who you are, know what you want. If you want a dick, if you don't want a dick, if you want a vagina, if you don't want a vagina, if you want, titties, or if you want a flat chest, um, you know, what kind of hair do you want? What facial structures? What do you want your body to overall look like? Those are things you really should consider. And like, if you don't want your, like, if you're female to male, if you don't want your voice to drop, testosterone might not be for you. Or if you want it to drop just a little bit, you know, but not like crazy, like, oh yeah, I'm Superman now. Low testosterone dosages. Now, I don't really know how that works because I really haven't dabbled around in that. I personally love having a deeper voice. It's one of those things I honestly don't think I would have realized that I wanted so much. Um, but it doesn't surprise me because I've always had like dysphoria over like an Adam's apple for whatever stupid reason. um, that's like legit. As a kid, I just really wanted to have an Adam's apple. So, but yeah, I don't even really know if I actually have one now or not because I don't really know how biology works. But you know what? Honestly, the deep voice works for me either way. I don't care anymore. Just I'm happy with it. But yeah. So I mean, like, you know, consider what you want, and you know, don't do it because someone's influencing you. And that segues into number 3, which is don't do it because someone told you to. You know, because honestly, I feel like in the LGBT community, people will influence you to transition even if you actually don't want to transition. And that's kind of crappy, I personally think. And, you know, you might be like, well, I don't want to not be seen as, you know, a actual trans person. But the thing is there are, honestly, look, if you're not expressing yourself as whatever gender you identify with, at least to some extent, then, or, you know, you don't want to change or whatever. But, you know, just, and don't be trans because, you know, someone's telling you, oh, it sounds like you might be trans, you might benefit from, you know, transitioning or whatever. Because, yeah, you might, but you might not. Because, you know, gender identity is a legit thing, you know. So you don't really want to take it lightly, and you don't want to just, you know, go with whatever anyone says to you. And, you know, of course, you know, that can go the other way around, is, you know, don't transition just because everyone in your life is like, no, you're going to go to hell or whatever, because I know how that is. And you know what, and I'm going to be honest here, you can be Christian and trans or non-binary or whatever, because, you know, God wants you to be you, not, you know, whatever that you is that, you know, whatever, you know, as long as you're still doing your Christianly duties, or whatever denomination you are, I guess, whatever you believe in. I'm not super strictly Christian, but I still kind of consider myself Christian. If anyone's interested, I'd be happy to go into another video on that. But yeah, trying to keep it short. I'm family. So, yeah. Don't do it because, you know, the LGBT community is telling you to. And, you know, if you're like, well, I don't want people to think I'm a transgender or whatever. For one, honestly, look, anybody with a brain in their head, if you actually, like, explain that, I just, you know, I want to be cautious, I know it's permanent, I don't want to rush into anything, and, you know, you're still kind of showing, you know, like, okay, for instance, female to male, if you're kind of a transgender if you got your tillies waving all over the place and, you know, wearing mini skirts that show your crotch hairs or something. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, that is something that is like, okay, if you really have dysphoria or you really actually want to transition, you probably would not feel all that comfortable with that. Um, my opinions on having dysphoria equaling trans is complicated. I can also make another video on that another day. I do think to transition you should either experience dysphoria or euphoria, I guess. Like, you should really feel good, you know, or really feel bad having whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean, because honestly, if you're doing shit for someone else, those people are not going to always be around. You know, it's a sad part of life. You really only get one or two people who really follow you out through your most of your life. And, you know, so I mean, that's kind of one of those things of like, you should not do something for someone else because those people are not always going to be a part of your life. You really do have to separate your feelings from what someone else wants for you. And that can be hard. But, you know, yeah, I think it's really toxic that, you know, how people are so pressured to quickly jump into such things and all that stuff. And I know dysphoria sucks. I get it. But you really should take into consideration that, you know, how do you feel? You know, don't just do things because someone suggests it. Because honestly, like, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of one of those things that you should really... It's kind of common knowledge, but people do it anyways. And, you know, I personally think people need to back off and let people make their own choices, really. Especially because, you know, yeah, don't just, you know, don't jump into something because someone tells you. And that's not just transitioning, that's anything. That is really anything. Like, not to say you shouldn't listen to people, but you should really take what people say with a grain of salt, unless they are very specifically knowledgeable in those areas, which honestly, they're not that knowledgeable if they're studying gender and sexuality studies or whatever. They're not that knowledgeable on that. I'd say, you know, maybe talking to a medical professional, but at the same time, you know, talk more about the realistic stuff. And sometimes that can be kind of hard because I you know, a lot of things are kind of... But yeah, that's kind of... That's another topic, man. That is another topic in itself. But anyways, segueing into number 4. There's my... I have to look at my... Because I made a list because I'm trying to keep track of myself. And I'm doing terrible at it, you guys. Oh, yes. Be real and understand that it won't change what you were born as and it won't fix your problems, okay? That's probably... Honestly, this is probably... The last 2 things are honestly the most important things to consider. I honestly don't think people really think about. Just because you get... Once again, consider this vice versa, but to keep it short, I'm just gonna... Yeah. No amount of testosterone, top surgery, bottom surgery, no amount of sculpting yourself to appear as male and making it to where you can live your life as male is going to change the fact that you were born a female. And that's just an undeniable fact. That's, you know, you you are stuck with the chromosomes you were born with. Maybe you're lucky and you're actually, I don't know, intersex or something. And it's hard to accept that. And honestly, that's why there's such a huge difference between, gender and sex, is because, yeah, gender is kind of how we interact with each other based on appearance and, physical appearances in the now, but your sex is really just like everything you were given naturally. And naturally you were born female, or vice versa. And you shouldn't try to act like, oh no, this is totally changing my sex and no one can ever consider me to have ever been female or whatever. No, that's not how that works. You should really honestly be cautious, because if you're doing it because you think it's going to change what you were born as, change how you change your mental health all the way, like, don't get me wrong, it has honestly helped me a lot with my anxiety, depression. Oh my gosh, it has helped me so much with my depression. But I still have issues, I still get crazy depressive. I mean, honestly, like, dude, I've since I've transitioned, I've still had moments where I'm suicidal, and it's not really anything trans related, honestly. Although sometimes that is a frustrating factor that sometimes helps to push me there. And honestly, that's another topic of itself, that may or may not ever actually go into. And I still have panic attacks. Like, dude, honestly, like, I still have panic attacks. Now, those have honestly decreased quite a bit since I've been transitioning. And, be real. Have real expectations, because, okay, testosterone. You might not be as, maybe, moody, but you might be more angered or frustrated or whatever. So no amount of anything is going to completely fix your mental health. And like with dysphoria, you might still hear your own name, or, you might, and it might make your heart race a little bit, like, oh shit. But, so I mean, like, yes, it does help a lot with dysphoria, but just, obviously, because that's kind of the point. But, it is not going to fix every single thing. It is not going to... It's not going to change what you were born as. It's not going to change the fact that some people are still going to remember you as what you were born as. Because that is a life. That is experience. That is time that you spent. And, there's just something about that, you really can't get rid of unless you completely mind wipe somebody. And it's not going to fix your depression 100%. It's not going to fix your anxiety 100%. Yeah, it might reduce your anxiety, it might reduce your depression, but it's not going to fix your problems. If you're in an abusive relationship, well, I mean, okay, maybe your partner will leave, but it's not going to fix everything. And, and in fact, if you are not aware of yourself enough and you end up making a mistake by transitioning because you think it's going to fix everything, honey, bunches of oats, you are not. You might even be worse. And honestly, this applies not to just, male to female, female male. That includes non-binary transition because, because, I mean, that one's an even harder one to really tell how much should I transition, how much should I not transition kind of thing. And no amount of anything. It takes hard work. It takes breaking free of a situation sometimes. It takes so much to break free of mental health issues. And it's one of those things you have to work your ass off and, do multiple things to help it. So, I mean, don't think that transitioning is your one-way ticket to freedom, because it's not. And along with it, it's gonna come more struggles, more challenges. I mean, for one, if finances are an issue, yeah, that is going to be something you go through. If it's just one of those things that you really have to consider. And just please, you guys, please, if you hear anything out of my damn talkative mouth, hear this. Nothing in this world, no amount of transitioning, no amount of one specific thing in general is going to fix you. It takes an assload of hard work and multiple things sometimes. Not to say that, and like I said, transitioning has been a great thing for me. It has honestly made me feel better. But that does not mean that I don't still struggle. That does not mean that I still... oh gosh. It's not a magic wand, and it is another thing that will come along with it is its own struggles. So please understand this. Please, I feel like I'm starting to get repetitive, but just I want to knock into people's brains. Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to think oh my gosh, I'm always going to be stuck being female forever and I'll never escape it. Because honestly, you can ignore that. You can really ignore it. I'm not saying that, you have to constantly think about how you were actually born as female, but just remember that's a part of your life, that is a part of that is a part of your past. And nothing is going to change that. No amount of anything, literally nothing, you guys, can change the past. All you can do is work towards a better future. And last but not least, to my probably becoming very, very long video. I'm sorry, you guys. I tried. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, he ended up killing himself. God, too soon. I know, you guys, I'm terrible. But I'm suicidal, so I can get away with it. Not right now, but have been in the past. Okay, my last point. Consider what you are doing. Consider that you might regret it. And, be willing to take the risks. Now, this kind of also coincides with the be real about it part. Look, if you're having financial issues, transitioning might not be best for you. If you are going through something there, it might not be the right time, because sometimes you should not bite off more than you can chew. And if you are in a situation where financially you have to take care of XYZ, you need to take care of those things before you consider, whatever else. And, just be real about it. That is honestly a case-by-case scenario, so I cannot really give accurate descriptions of things, but if you're just trying to get by, getting rent paid for, well, you need to focus on that, because you don't want to be homeless. If you're trying to get through college, and if that's where the money you could be saving for surgeries go, keep working with college, unless and of course if you're in a situation where you maybe need to take some time off, that's a different story. But don't put other things at risk over it. Don't put other people at risk. Like, if you have a family and you're wanting to transition, but financially you still have to provide for your family or whatever, don't screw over your family. Like, honestly, I will come there and I'll kick your ass if you put a child out on the street because you want to transition. I will literally come kick your ass. Like, I will probably fail, but I will. Like, just don't be stupid. Don't be stupid about you guys. Seriously. Don't be stupid. But seriously, consider what you are doing, considering where you are in your life. Consider that, these things are permanent. These changes are permanent. These things are going to cost money. I'm going to get ridiculed over it. And all that fun stuff. Because honestly, it's not an easy thing to do. It really isn't. And honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You could probably sell a few textbooks. Probably only need to sell 2 or 3. Just kidding, you guys. But that would actually get you a ways. That's the sad part. Actually, no. Let's do this calculation. Honestly, y'all, you could probably sell somewhere between 30 to 50 books, and you would have enough. If you sold 30 to 50 textbooks, you could go get yourself transitioned. Damn, go get some surgery. I know, I'm awful, you guys. I am awful. And honestly, this is probably something so important to consider, is understand that you might regret it. If it has not crossed your mind that you might regret transitioning, you haven't thought hard enough on it. You really have not. Because honestly, there are real fears and feelings that come along with that. You might not be happy with the changes you get from testosterone. You don't want to make yourself more dysphoric by doing something that you've never done. Yeah, you know how it feels to have the body you currently have, but do you know what it's like to actually have the body that you're about to have? No, you don't. Because honestly, if you did, well, this wouldn't be an issue, would it? And really just reconsider. You should really be, think about it. You might not be happy with your results. You know, it might not be what you wanted. It might, the reality of it might not match your expectations, and especially because it's, yeah, you have a general idea of what it does, but you don't know how it feels to experience that. You don't know if, you know, you don't know if you're gonna like who you are, you know, on hormones or whatever. And if you have not had the slightest thought of, oh my gosh, I might not be happy with, you know, getting my tits off or getting tits, you know, I might not be happy with having boobs, I might not be happy with, you know, I might not be happy with the lower voice, I might really start missing my feminine voice. And I'll be honest with you guys, you know, I do have days I do miss having a soprano voice, but honestly, I would not trade it for the world, honestly. Like, I would trade my voice now for, like, a good singing voice, because that's always been a thing I just love. I love singing, but I'm just awful at it. I do not have that natural talent. But yeah, I mean, seriously, think about it. Think, I might not be happy with this. I might regret this. And then be willing to take those risks anyways. Really analyze yourself, and if you are willing to take those risks, if you are really willing to, if you're like, you know what, it is worth the risk, because damn it, I want this, I need this, I've been having, because honestly, this just sucks so much that I have to, you know, either you really want it, or you really just don't want to be, you know, female. Either way, you know, it's like, I really want this, or I really do not want to have tits, or I really don't want to have this voice, blah, 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 blah. You know, consider that you are going to regret it, and take the risk anyways, because it might actually be worth it. Because maybe you're in a place of desperation. Because honestly, you do not want to screw up your body and live to regret it. That you just, like I said, it's one of those things you should really consider that and go for it. If you can go for it, even though you know that you might regret it, even if you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I want this so badly, how the hell could I regret it? Just consider that it might not meet your expectations, and then be willing to go for it anyways. So yeah, I mean, all of this is just say, hey, these are some things you should maybe consider doing before, I don't know, actually doing anything. Come on, you stupid thing. Yeah. You know, these are things you should really consider before medically transitioning. And, you know, I hope this makes sense. I hope this has been an informative video for y'all. So yeah, I mean, like I said, just, you don't want to screw up your body if transitioning is not for you. But at the same time, if you've gone through this entire video and you're like, you know what, dude, yeah, I still want it 100%, man. Then yeah, go right ahead. I am not going to stop you. I will be over here cheering you on. Yeah, go you person, go. You got it. Woo! I'll be more enthusiastic than, like, you know, than like Oklahomans at Bedlam. Which, if you don't know what Bedlam is, it's basically the two big colleges in Oklahoma football game, which I'm at. Oh, yeah! Which is very enthusiastic about football and is terrifying when you're blind and trying to navigate campus on football days. I'm trying to actually be quiet because I don't know. I think people can hear me. Anyways, but seriously, you guys, if you've gone through this and you're like, yeah, I still want to transition, go for it, buddy. Go for it. But those are just things to consider. I'm going to shut up now because I don't stop talking. But thanks for watching, and I hope this is informative. Bye.